Alrighty. Hi, everybody. Hope you're having a great day. And today I have a very, very special guest, Lindsey, and she is just like a wealth of information when it comes to changing your life and changing your mindset. And she's a pretty good slogan, and I don't know, she's been an inspiration to me. We met a couple years ago at our very first show, and even before that, she was one of those girls who just like openly reached out and was really like open with communication and really inspiring and helpful. So I just thought like having her on this and sharing some like knowledge about what she knows in the mindset and positivity realm would be super helpful for everybody, especially with everything that is going on. So without further ado, Morgan, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you? Thank you so much for having me on here.
I'm feeling good.
Yep, it's just another day.
Exactly. It's kind of just same thing over and over again.
For real.
How are you holding up?
I'm doing really good. I mean, I think everyone has their moments, which is why this is such good practice in order to like, I think this is the perfect time to work on your mindset, right? Because you're so isolated and there's not a better time than now to really focus on your mindset in general. So I would say like, I'm really, really big on my mornings. So every single morning I try to be really, really productive. I set a routine. If you, I don't know if any of you guys have watched my stuff before, but I know you have, Allie, obviously, but I always start off with something super positive in the morning, whether that's a sermon or a motivational video. That's the first thing I do before I look at my phone or anything like that. And then I usually go outside, obviously, if weather permits. I know some of you might not have awesome weather, it might be cold, but just getting outside in nature really helps too, first thing in the morning. But there's waves, right? I mean, we're in a position where, you know, sometimes you might be up and sometimes you might be down. But I posted a video about this the other day, like what I've been doing that's really been helping me on a daily basis is when I have a negative thought or I have a negative feeling come into my head, I try to just like hit next. Or you can think of a word too. Like I used to use the word refocus, and that used to help me a lot too. Like refocus on something, and then it puts you in a present moment and allows you to kind of redirect your thoughts into a more positive direction. So that's kind of what I do, and kind of how I've been holding up is obviously not every moment is perfect, but a lot of times when we're anxious or we have negativity, it's because we're thinking in the past or in the future because it's uncertain right now what's kind of going on in the world. But if you focus on right now, you'll find yourself in a more happier place. So that's kind of what I've been doing.
Sweet. So I've been focusing and practicing living in the now as well. And it's definitely something that I try to help my clients understand and learn. But how did you even come across that and get into that mindset to start with, you know?
So I think it's just overall practice. I mean, having anxiety since I was 13, I have generalized anxiety. So it can be literally about anything. So when I started becoming anxious, it used to take over my life, and I wasn't able to be productive. When I worked in the corporate world, it would get so bad that I would have to go home. And I got to a point in my life, and this is about probably like 4 or 5 years ago, where I'm like, you know what, like this can't keep happening. I can't have a life where I can't work and I can't be around my friends or my family because this is crippling me in some ways. So every time that I would get anxiety, I would just start journaling every feeling that I felt. And then I started doing self-help. I read a lot of books. The Power of Now is good. There was a lot of people that I looked up on YouTube. Like I kind of just self-diagnosed myself. And then I would just every day practice on it. Like it's just like your diet or training in the gym. Like it's something that you have to practice every single day. And then it becomes a routine, and then it becomes part of your life. So do I still have anxiety? Yes, but I have so many ways that I combat it that it's very rare that I get stuck in a place where I'm anxious all day. I might have a few minutes, but it's not longer than that. I usually snap out of it pretty quick, but just practice and years of practice. So
that's pretty awesome. So it comes down to searching, analyzing your own thoughts, and then just years and years of dedication and practice and creating new habits.
Yeah, exactly. That's like when you know more, you do more, right? So without knowing, then you can't really like practice those. So you just have to use your experiences and try to make positive ones for the next time. Like if you just keep doing the same thing over and over, you're going to get the same results. So just trying different things, and what works for me might not work for everyone, but that's why you just have to try different things and figure out what relaxes you, what puts you in a calm state, what helps you pass those anxious moments, things like that.
Couldn't agree more. I know there is a reoccurring with so many people I talk to, and especially just in the last few days, the guests that I have had on, they always start their morning with some specific ritual morning routine. And a lot of the people add in journaling and reading and nature. And it's just those few things you start seeing. It's not just, you know, in the guests that I've had, it's when you start reading books and you see like the authors do that, and then they describe all the greatest, all do that type of thing too. So it's like, instead of trying to, you know, get stuck in what's doing wrong, what are other people doing right?
Yeah.
How can we take their lead in any way? So that was really awesome.
For sure.
I did want you to talk a little bit about your journey, because it is pretty crazy, the life change that you made. And you hit a little bit on, you know, leaving your job, but how did you get into even the situation of understanding you weren't happy and to where you are now in a thriving business? Like, if you guys don't follow her already, she is a BAB when it comes to owning her own coaching business and all that stuff.
Yeah. So I've always liked fitness. I'm going to be 30 in August. So I worked in the corporate world for 8 years, but kind of before that, I always liked fitness. I was a trainer at LA Fitness. I did YouTube videos back then, believe it or not. I just didn't, at the time, I just didn't really figure out what direction I wanted to go into fitness. And I always think that everything happens for a reason. Like, I don't think that I would be where I am now without the experiences that I went through. But a shortened version of it is that I just got unhappy going to work every single day, and I couldn't figure out why. Like, my mom at one point was like, Morgan, like, how many jobs are you going to have? And I worked in sales, and I did like recruiting. I worked at a bank, and then I did like fitness stuff, but I just had all these different jobs, and I was like, I always wanted to go back to fitness. But at the time I was like, I don't know how I would be successful in this field, because I didn't really at the time enjoy in-person training and doing sales, because I don't know, it's never been about the money for me. I just really love helping people. And so I wasn't in the right outlet as far as fitness back then, but I just kept going back to fitness. And then my last corporate job, when I lived in Vegas, I hated so much going to work. And I was just like, you know what, I really want to help people, and I want to start my own coaching business. And obviously, you know, competing and stuff gave me more knowledge, but I just started helping people. I did a challenge. That's kind of how I started. And then I grew my business upon that. That was about 3.5 years ago. And then I just kept building and building while working. And then finally I got the courage to just leave it all. And I moved back to Tampa from Vegas. And it really comes down to, I just couldn't take it anymore. Like, my backup was against the wall, and I would do anything to leave that job. So that kind of forced me into starting my own business. And then I lived with my sister at the time. I had no money. I was like waitressing, coming from, you know, a job that I was making a good living at. And I kind of just gave it all up, because I realized like being happy was way more important to me and helping other people than being stuck at a job that I wasn't happy at anymore. And then it just kind of took off from there. So.
That is awesome. That almost made me tear up. I love hearing personal stories. It's truly inspiring. There's one thing that you said in there that really stuck out to me, and it's a very common question. I know you've talked about it before. It's, how do you know your purpose? Like, what is your why? And guys, like, knowing your purpose is how best can you serve other people.
So I think that you realize your purpose and kind of the direction with what makes you feel good. So like, I would literally, if I could, like, yes, you need to make a living, but I would do my job for free. I literally would help anybody that I could if that was the case. So I feel like when you start feeling good doing things, whatever it is, whether it's, you know, I also have a cookie business. Like, I love that too. So it's like when you feel good doing something, you're more likely to put effort into that. And I think that that's how you start figuring out like what makes you feel good. But I also feel like helping people is something that it has to be fulfilling to you in some way. And I think the most fulfilling thing is helping people in some sort of capacity. It doesn't necessarily have to be fitness, but that's kind of how I figured it out. Just going off of like what makes me feel good, like what makes me motivated when I wake up in the morning. If it doesn't make you feel that way, then it's probably not something you're gonna do long term.
I agree. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that there probably are quite a few people on here that might feel a little stuck with the current situation that's going on. And I thought it was kind of interesting that I wrote a post this morning kind of stating, you know, are you going to come out of this stronger and better, or are you going to let it hold you back and create new excuses? And then I was on your page just doing a little bit of research on some questions to ask, and you just talked about this. So I would love to hear just some of your thoughts on this whole entire situation. And
yeah, so I definitely think it's a great time, like I said, to just self-reflect. And there's just so many projects and things that you can do. Even if you're someone that's like wanting to start a new business, this is the perfect time to kind of go all in on that. And being mentally strong is a daily practice, but I really like, this is such a unforeseen circumstance. Like I told you, like sometimes I wake up, I'm like, is this a dream? Is this real life? Like I still haven't processed it fully myself. But when I wake up in the morning, I know everyone's saying like keep a routine, but not even a routine, but set out daily tasks for yourself and things that you want to accomplish. And to do that, it could be something really, really simple. Like if you want to start a new business, like, hey, today I'm going to look on how to set up a website, or just little things that are going to allow you to feel like you're getting somewhere. And by the end of this, you should have had, 20 each day. You have a small goal. We got, I don't know how many days left, 20 something, but then that's 20 little goals that you've accomplished, which would then lead into a really, really big goal. So I think that keeping yourself busy and your mind occupied with things that make you feel good or something that you want to accomplish is definitely going to help. And at the end, like, you don't want to be like, wow, like I wasted all of that time, like, because I was uncertain of what's happening, or I was depressed or had anxiety, when you could have been, utilizing your time a little bit better. And some things that I've been doing too that just help is like, obviously calls like this are really, really good, or FaceTiming people for workouts, getting outside, calling your friends and family, like things like that. And being around people that make you feel good, I think is really, really helpful too.
I always notice, like, in being a coach, you and I both get an opportunity to talk to a lot of people all day long. And sometimes I'm feeling I'm off the phone with some clients. I'm just like, all right, I feel so much better after that interaction I got to have. And just knowing what is good to you and what makes your day better.
Yeah, and yeah, it really, really helps doing that, because when you're around positive people, it's really, really hard to be negative. Like that's why my video, like if you just like smile, like you can't be angry and smile at the same time. Hudson, get down. So that really, really helps overall. Just like even music, like I dance all the time in here, like by myself, like I literally don't have anyone here, but it just makes me feel good. So doing even like little things like that to just put your mood in a better place, like is definitely going to be helpful.
I agree. So in the LAE program, I touch on a few things on how to kind of change your life, and we mentioned a few of them, and that was, the environment and the people you surround yourself with. I know a lot of us have. Can everyone else hear the connection?
I can hear it, but it's like a little in and out.
Yeah, it kind of comes and goes and you freeze up.
Yeah, your video's been frozen like pretty much the whole time. Your audio's like, I can mostly hear what you're saying. Like I can catch the gist of what you're saying, but
this is really clear though. Like whatever.
Yeah, yours is really clear.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying anything too important.
Okay.
Oh man, yeah, sorry guys. Zoom on my end, it must be my apartment complex or where I live because else is fine, the issue, I swear.
When you come up, it
Anyway.
says your bandwidth is low.
Oh.
Base network bandwidth is low.
Well, let me switch to my phone. Let me see if that'll help.
Yeah, I'm using my phone. The computer was like stressing me out trying to figure that out.
Exactly. Let me go back to Facebook. Where did I make this post?
You're gonna close out of this one?
Yeah, we'll close out. Okay. Maybe this will help.
Yeah, it's like so blurry that I don't even know what I'm looking at, so I don't even know if anyone can see me.
I can see you.
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay.
Allie, I wonder if maybe if you block your video, if it'll free up some of your bandwidth to like make your audio connection a little better. Oh, hi, there you are.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
I
that's
switched
better.
devices. You
That's
know,
a lot
all this
better.
technology is a little too hard for me to figure out nowadays.
I know.
I'm like trying to handle like a tablet, a laptop, like like shit.
Yeah,
All
this
right.
is way better. I can like see you. You were like frozen, and I was like, I'm just feel like I'm talking to a frozen person for like 30 minutes.
Well,
I'm actually frozen up in the corner on my screen, on your other screen.
Oh.
oh my gosh, there we go. Sweet. All right, guys, we're back. We're live. Okay, so that was a pretty sick flow. I'm feeling good about that conversation so far. So,
Yes.
I did want to make this a really good opportunity for any and everyone on here to ask questions or purvey any thoughts they may have had while we were talking. Yeah, so if we want to move into that area, or if there's anything else you would like really want to add in as well.
Does anyone want to ask anything first?
Yeah, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you left the corporate world and you went to your, dream job of coaching and everything, did you have doubts and uncertainties like within yourself? And if so, like, how did you overcome those thoughts? Like, were you intimidated? Like, how did you get past any fear or doubt?
Yes, that's actually a really good question. So my first year of coaching, specifically, not so much with my lifestyle clients, but with my competitor clients, like having them go to shows. And I always used to think like, oh, I should have done better with this, like, and doubt myself. And then I would have people like switch coaches and things like that. And so that really got to me a lot my first year of coaching. And even today, I obviously still deal with that. But I think you just have to be confident in your method and confident in yourself. And how I combated that was just like I mentioned before, like when I would have, a client say something, I would take that constructive criticism and try to get better and apply it to my future clients. And then because confidence comes from within yourself. And I think that you just have to practice every single day, and it'll go to every area of your life. So I definitely had doubts leaving my corporate job for sure. To kind of relay back to that, I mean, I was living in a room at my sister's. I had both of my dogs in there. I was like waitressing. It was just kind of a crazy time for me. But when I go back to those times, like I talked to this to my mom a lot, like my parents are really hard on me at that time, like, because I was, I guess, 26 and they wouldn't let me move back in with them. And so I had to find another option. So like I said, when I literally had like my back against the wall, I feel like that also gave me confidence that I was at a low point in my life and I made steps to make it better. And looking back, like I was pretty content, even though I didn't have a lot. Like sometimes I like wish I could go back because I love that building phase. And we're in one right now with this quarantine. Like this is a time when you don't have any distractions. You just have to focus on getting better and whatever you're trying to improve in your life. So I always I like that part of like the challenging aspect of like making yourself better, because whether there's a quarantine or not, you should always be trying to get better every single day. So in some sort of capacity.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for that. And thank you for sharing about your anxiety. I also have the generalized I'm on medication for it every day. So it's just nice when people open up and just say, hey, you can get through this. You can change your life. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and I was on medication too for a while, and then it started like affecting my vision for some reason. So I had to get off of it. And that's another thing that I'm like, okay, well, I can't use this, so I need to cope with another method. So yeah, I mean, just definitely work on it every single day. I still have anxiety. I mean, it's kind of like when I went to a therapist, it's kind of the way that my brain is wired. So it's something that I'm always going to deal with, and change in any sort of capacity kind of triggers it. So when you kind of are aware of those things, you can better like put yourself in that mindset, like, okay, I know I'm going through change. This is what I'm going to do to, you know, help myself. And then you'll be in a better mindset going forward if you know that it's coming. So like right now we're in change, but we're going to be here for a while. So that gives you opportunity to kind of work on your anxiety. So in the future, you're like, okay, I've already dealt with that situation, and I'm going to be better now because of what I dealt with in the past.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
sure. You're welcome.
That was awesome. Lexi, I saw a question from you, but I don't want to mess it up. You can hop on the microphone and ask it.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Morgan, you made a comment that your parents were really strict on you during your career transition. Do you feel like you had any reservations based off of that alone? Do you feel like your relationship with your parents improved after your career transition? Did you ever fear that like it would remain that kind of rocky spot after the career transition, and how did you deal with that?
Yes. So I actually talked to my mom, and I are super close. I'm close to my dad too, but me and my mom are like best friends. But during that time, she was like, you're crazy. Like, you got a college degree. Why would you leave your job? Like, you're nuts. And then I had 2 dogs, and my mom had dogs too. So that's kind of why she wouldn't let me live there, because of my animals. But at the time, like, I resented her so much. I was like, I'm your daughter. Like, how could you do this to me? Like, this doesn't make sense. And I feel like because she was hard on me, like that led me into even wanting to be more successful to prove her wrong. And and now my mom is like really, really proud of me, obviously. But I think sometimes people think that they know what's best for you, and they may not, because no one is you. So you have to go off of what feels best for you. And the people that love you, like family and friends, like, I mean, obviously my mom came around, but I think my mom knows me so well now that, like, because I move a bunch of different places. Like, I'm probably going to leave Tampa soon and go somewhere else. That's just my personality. It's just what I like to do. And my mom's like, she made this joke. She's like, Morgan's on the road again, because I'm always just like doing something else. That's just my personality, and just the type of person that I am. So eventually she came around. But I just think that if you explain to someone why you're doing something and why you're passionate about it, then if they don't appreciate that, then they probably aren't someone that should be in your life, even if it's a family member or something like that, because you have to have positivity around you. So me and my mom actually didn't talk for a little bit until I kind of got my business going. So I don't know if that was the right answer, because I think that that's sometimes hard because family can be challenging, but family will also come around too. I have faith in that. Eventually, even if it's a little bit longer than you anticipate, they always come around.
Thank you. That's really reassuring to know, just because, like you said, they are family. And I think that a lot of people that I surround myself with, my husband was always like this, we're very family oriented. So it's like family before everything, even if that means like sacrificing what you want to make your family happy. So it's kind of nice to see that like you can make these changes and things will iron themselves out.
Yeah, they eventually will. And then when people see you happy, like, you know, you just shine a different light, and people, like, they appreciate that, you know. At the end of the day, like, you life, and it's a cliche saying, but it's so true. Like, it's something I practice. Like, does this make me happy? Yes or no? And it's okay to be selfish when it comes to your happiness, because I think we already sacrifice so much. Like, I don't think you should sacrifice everything. I think you have to have a little bit of something for yourself.
Thanks, Morgan.
You're welcome.
Yeah, if you don't leave enough for yourself, you're gonna lose yourself eventually, and that's not a good place to be.
Yes, exactly.
Michael has a cool little story. I mean, you don't have like a specific story, but I think it would help people to hear kind of like what you went through.
No, yeah, same thing. You know, I was I was always scared of failure, I guess, was my biggest thing. You know, I played in so many sports, was generally good at everything I did. But then when it came to working, I would just find something that I was generally good at, whether I liked it or not. And I just stuck with it for too long. When it was definitely, I sacrificed my happiness 24/7 just to please certain people or hang out with certain people I thought were cool. So like, I would have killed for something like this, like a year or two ago. This would have been awesome to have,
I know, right?
these type of people. So, I was in a pretty low place. I mean, I was drinking like every single day, but it was just because, again, the people I was surrounding myself with, a lot of negativity, but I just thought it was cool because they thought I was cool, and they were accepting everything I was doing, and I would just pretend that I was happy 24/7. So, I really kind of just buried a lot of that. So yeah, it's obviously I didn't step back and just do me really and just try to make myself happy. So I think that was a big step when we moved here. I just finally quit that job. And again, I was scared to quit that job because I didn't want to fail at something else I hadn't tried, yet. So when we moved here, making that transition and not necessarily ditching all my friends, but just realizing that those actually weren't friends that were making me happy, and they weren't positive people, and they were probably drowning in their own sorrows just as much as I was. So coming here and hanging out with the people we surround ourselves with now and kind of getting to pick and choose those friends has made a huge impact. Obviously, I mean, mine, it's the same thing. It was just structure. Like, I'm really good with structure. So I went back to following her plan necessarily for the first time. We've been together for freaking 11 years. I picked this year, to follow that.
Oh my God, I never knew that. That's crazy.
Yeah,
So, sweetheart.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a year ago today, really, that I made that switch, and like health-wise, I went from like 208 to like 170. Wanted to get shredded. I just did exactly that, but sticking on that structure was awesome. Picking a job I wanted to, and just the people we hang out with here now, it's just nothing but positivity. So I don't know, if you surround yourself with people that are motivating you, or do something that you like to do, that you're extremely interested in, it definitely will change everything about you for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's, go ahead.
Oh, you can go.
No, I don't want you to lose your question. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think that's a really interesting thing, like here, like you both and myself have went through this transition where we felt very alone at the beginning, and the famous like quote, like the beginning of a journey is a lonely road. It's very true. You feel like you're giving up so many things or leaving behind a life or people or family, and you just have to remember that it's temporary, and the people that come back around and stick in your life are the ones that matter and the ones that are important. And just like you guys said, like, they'll see how happy you're becoming, and if that person genuinely isn't happy or understanding of the situation that you've made for yourself or your life that you love now, then what's going on with them? Like, nothing you're doing is your fault. It's really their own internal struggles, and maybe you could be that light now to help them grow.
Yeah, I don't think it's a problem to leave certain quote unquote friends for a little while to do your own thing, and if they come back around, or if you feel like you're in a position to help them, then by all means do it at that point. But yeah, I agree.
And I think something, go ahead.
Sorry, that was kind of my point, the question I wanted to ask about friends that are toxic for you, but like you just feel bad like cutting them out of your life. Like, how do you just kind of distance? Because there are some people in my life that I know are dragging me down. I just don't know how to like end that without being hurtful,
For me, it was just saying no. So I mean, like, yeah, that was the hardest thing though.
Michael had to learn how to say no.
I suck so much at saying no. So like, for me, separating some of those friends was just, like when they would ask me to go out and stuff, just literally just no. If I'm gonna go do this, I'd be like no. But then I would tell them what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, not just no, like blowing them off. Like, no, hey, today I already committed to doing this, and this for myself or something. Just kind of letting them know why it's a no, and then they eventually get the point. Like, it might piss them off for a little while, but they get the point eventually. And then they either see what you're doing, and then they tell you about like what they're going through after you made a change, and then you can come back and help them.
And I will add to that, Cece, like, if you feel bad about saying no about things, you can always invite them to do the things you're doing. Like, that doesn't mean you have to cut them out. You can still include them in the changes you're making in your life, and then it's their decision whether they come along or not, and it's less on you because you made your effort. A relationship is 50-50. It can't all be on you, so that might help too.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Exactly.
Morgan, did you have anything you wanted to add to that part?
Just like I like the thing that you said about failure, like how you were scared to move into a different direction because of failing. Like that's a good point of what's helped me when you said that. Like everything that I'm scared of, I'll do it. Like if someone would put me in front of a room to talk in front of people like 2 years ago, I would be like, I'm not doing that, even though I really, really, really like doing it. But I'm just like, no, I'm too scared, But if anything that you're scared of, just tackle it. And then you realize like, oh my gosh, like this wasn't so bad. And then that will help build your confidence, and that'll help you start figuring out like which direction you want to go. Because if you just don't do things because you're scared of failing, then you'll probably still stay in that same place. Because everything that I was scared to do, like I tackled, and I'm here now. Like even being alone, like I always had to like be doing something with like friends or going out. Like I couldn't, my mom would be like, why don't you just stay home? Like when I was in high school, like since then until like, I don't know, I would say like 2 or 3 years ago, I'm okay with being alone. Like I've been alone the last, I don't know how many days. And I'm just like, you know what? It's okay. Because it's not that bad. I can entertain myself. But I think that just go after the things that scare you. If you're scared to do it, then just try it. I mean, even competing, I drank so much wine my first show. My girlfriend like pushed me out there, like you're going. And then I never would have competed because I was too scared. And look at where I'm at now. So that was just a good point on what you said. So I figured it would help people just with their overall confidence in general, doing the things that scare you.
Oh yeah, I live by that motto, dude. I always laugh at my first show. I honestly blacked out. I don't remember the first time I walked on stage. I was like shaking, nervous. I was drinking wine as well.
We just rewatched it. It was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, I have this. So the throwback to early 2016. Oh God.
That's hilarious.
But it's really interesting because I made a vow to myself January 1st, 2016, I was going to make a change in my life. And I was going to follow a passion and a career and do something for myself. And I saw something in competitors which sparked my interest. And I know everyone else has a different passion or interest, but the mindset and the body and the hard work and being able to change your physique and grow with such mental like strength was just so like inspiring to me. And I was like, how can I do that for myself? And just like you said, like every single day you're going to do something that scares you more. In the last 4 years, I quit my whole life pretty much just like you did, and started refocusing and recentering it. And even me just starting little things like this, like I couldn't talk in front of a crowd. I barely passed my communications class. I never did any type of thing that I was on stage with. Like I'd accept an award and literally be shaking. Like I still sweat when I talk like on this, like
Yeah. Oh my God, this is so funny. I remember telling like Will back in the day, I'm like, I never want to win a show because I don't want to do the interview after. Like who says that? Like I want to win, but I don't want to talk. Like, I don't know. But yeah, but now, it's different. But I think that's normal to get nervous. I still get nervous. I still sweat too sometimes. It's fine. But that's like when you're like, okay, like I did it. It was fine. Like this is fun. So it definitely helps.
It really, really does. And it shows a lot that like everyone who's on here, some people are at work and couldn't make it. But the fact that you accepted to create a challenge and a change in your life shows that you want to be better for yourself and you're going to show up. But then also even getting on a live like this used to scare me. Like if I was in your shoes a few years ago, getting on a live like this would be intimidating. So it's like, those little steps and those little mindset shifts that you're creating and working on just in this little program or by just trying to be better every single day are adding up, and they are making you stronger. Don't underestimate those things.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I need to start going live more. I really don't. But yeah, it's definitely something that this even helped me like today, because I've never done anything like this with someone. So I did the podcast for the competitor one, but it wasn't live. So
Girl, I'm down to do some more of these with you because I think they're super
I know.
fun. And
Yeah, they're
I
definitely
really
fun.
like it.
Me
But
too.
sweet. Any other little questions? Because those were really awesome.
Allison, I had just something I wanted to say. You can hear me, right? Okay. It's funny because I'm doing this as like partially supporting you and supporting, you know, what you're doing. So I'm excited about it. I didn't really know what I had to contribute to it. I knew I had things to get from it, but when I'm hearing you guys talk, as I've been on both sides of the coin, I've been the daughter and I'm the mother with Lex.
Yeah.
Lex is 25, Sebastian's 27. So you were talking, Mallory, about you and your mother's relationship. And it's funny because I think about all the things that I've been through, and they do, and you mentioned they come back, and they do come back, because I've had a tumultuous relationship with my mother. My dad has always been strained, but that's because he's really pretty much absent, but I know he loves me the best that he can love me, and so I love him for that. As a mother who's had to dish out tough love to her daughter and say no, was that we owned a business that we just sold, and we had it for 16 years, and my daughter thought she wanted to be a business owner, but she didn't really know what all that entailed, and it's commercial.
Right.
So it's not the same as this, but you never have an off button. You're never off, you're always on. So
Yeah.
tough love through that she wanted to stay on or stay in the fold as in still working with us, but it wasn't working for the company, you know. But it's not just what we go through and that they'll come around, it's how we grow from those. So like Lex and I now are like, I leaned on her heavy when I was there because I was in Indiana, basically transient. I was sleeping on people's couches and in their spare I was couch surfing. So I don't know, it's you have to have a solid sense of self. And I think that if we put too much worth in what other people say or what we think other people will think of us or what we do, that's what makes it so hard. So it's really encouraging to me. My daughter is a little bit what I would call an old soul, kind of. So like soap and things like that. And so seeing this community together of like Allison bringing you guys together is cool to me because I like the connections that are being made. And I don't know, I just, it gives me hope, I guess, for the future and everything. So I just kind of wanted to contribute to that.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, it's so true. Like, I don't know. I would say like exactly like you're saying, like my mom and I, we've always been close, but now I feel like we're even closer. And we just always will have that bond, but that's just like any relationship. Like my mom just thought she was telling me what was right at the time, you know? So it's like, and my mom has been right about a lot of things, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Like this, I was right, but my mom is usually like 99% right. But yeah, like that was all like such good stuff what you just said. I definitely agree. So 1000%.
Just thought I would share. And Lex and I too, it is great when, you know, you get that text or that Snapchat or something. She's like, you're my best friend, you know, and it's like,
yeah.
at the end of the day, it's like, this can't ruin our relationship because that's the most important thing. So, you know, you got to be right with your people.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Thanks, Carmen. That was really sweet.
Yes.
That's how I feel.
I mean, it is interesting to hear it from, you know, a different standpoint because a lot of us are on like the bottom part of that relationship. And it's like through growth and through experiences, we're starting to learn like, you know, we have to really consider other people, but then also have a very strong sense of your own self to present because you're just going to get lost in the world, lost in relationships, and lost in yourself if you don't really like take time to be with yourself and journal and meditate and, you know, work on your own goals.
Yep. It all comes down to you. So true.
It really does. It's pretty amazing. Any other questions?
Nice.
Oh, this isn't a question, but it's something that Allie and I were like kind of texting this morning, and she just wanted me to share it. Like, I have already made so much like shifts in my mindset. Like just during the day, I can just feel myself like turning my mind on and just leaning in. And it's been so great. And like, I'm so dang excited like at night when I go to sleep because I cannot wait to wake up in the morning to start grinding with you guys. Like it's been so great. So thank you guys for this call. It's been awesome.
Aw, I love that.
Me too. You're so welcome. I know it's great to have a lot of like-minded people on that are so like ready to learn, and you know, that's one of the most important things is knowledge and research, and it's part of the reason why I started my book club. I have struggles with committing to reading and committing to my own time and learning. Like it's just, I put it on the back burner too often. So I was like, how can I help serve others, but then help serve myself at the same time? And I was like, well, I've never been good at reading or literature, so let's just start a book club.
That's awesome.
And,
Force yourself into it.
Yeah, and it's been great. You know, I'm on book 4. We're doing book club tonight at 7:30 for anyone who does want to join in. If you haven't read the book yet, it's still, you know, conversation like this, lots of good knowledge. And we're reading Grit. Have you read that one yet?
Mm-mm.
It's pretty
No,
good.
I need to. I need to read more too.
I know you said you read The Power of Now, and that was actually in the book club. That was month 2, and that one was pretty trippy.
Yeah, the 4 Agreements is good too. That's one of my favorites. Because I
Okay,
feel like
girl.
you can apply that one to so many things in your life. Like anytime something happens, I'm like, 4 Agreements. Okay. Don't assume, don't take things personally. Like those are honestly like such simple things, but can literally change your life.
Oh my God, I can't believe you just said that, because so my Elevate You program that I just launched, like that's the first month's like focus. Like I make them all listen to it and apply it to their own life, because that book honestly changed a lot of my life.
Yeah, it's definitely like when something happens, even with like a friend or a family member, like usually it's because someone's taking something personal or you're assuming something's happening when it's not. So like that just puts everything into perspective, and then you can kind of take a step back and put yourself in that present moment and kind of figure out what's going on, and that'll relieve a lot of like stress, anxiety, and all that kind of stuff. So I love that book.
Me too. And guys, if you haven't listened to it, it's free on YouTube. Like it takes, I think, maybe an hour and a half total, but I had to stop and re-listen to the chapters like 4 times each.
Yeah,
What's
it's a
one of
good
the
one.
other pillars is like about your words or something being like a spell. Like that's my problem. I don't communicate well. So then I assume people understand what I'm saying, and they're like, that's not what you said. So
Yeah.
everything in that book.
Yeah, I feel that for sure. Yeah, communication takes practice too. It's just, I mean, it's hard. I'm a sensitive personality, but I'm also like bold too. So like sometimes I'm like, I have a hard time saying no, or I don't communicate properly. And I think it's just, again, like practice, like saying how you feel. And even if the other person doesn't receive it well, at least you're practicing getting your feelings out, you know? And that's good practice too. Because people can't really be upset with how you feel. Like if you feel a certain way, like nobody can really take that from you. Like that's how you're feeling, and you have every right to say how you're feeling. So
I couldn't agree more. There is one little quote that stuck out to me in the last book I was reading, which was The One Thing. And it said, when you say yes to someone or something in your life, you have to think about what you're also saying no to. And that tied into one of our earlier conversations when you were talking about like, you know, following your goals. And that really stuck out to me, because right after I read that and I journaled about it, I was like, man, what did I say yes to this week that's causing me stress and anxiety? And I started realizing like, wow, I know I'm in control, but like how much of control am I taking over like my actions and what I've been putting myself into, like it's not good to overfill your cup up with things to do.
Yep, for sure. I love all of it. This is really good. I liked it.
Me too. So much fun. I know. I'm like seriously, who would love to just talk about random mindset stuff, Morgan?
I know. I literally could talk about this stuff all day. It's like, it's nuts to me. But I think it's because it did change my life so much. And then I feel like I'm relatable too, because I go through all the same emotions. Like, I don't claim that I'm perfect and I have this perfect life. Like, I'm nowhere near perfect, but I feel like I can help people because I still go through those emotions on the daily. I mean, we live in a world that can cause stress and anxiety, and even what we're all going through right now, but we're all in the same situation, which is kind of unique, like everywhere, which is kind of cool. So we're all like being forced to kind of get through it together. But
Yeah.
I don't know, just got to keep moving forward and be happy and smile, and it'll change your life. It really will.
I agree. I did want to ask you one thing. Shoot, I just forgot it now. Gosh, I'm so bad at remembering questions. So I write everything down. Oh,
I know.
okay. I remember. It was, if you were to give just a few tips or pieces of advice to somebody who was, 5 years ago you, and right when you're trying to make that transition, when everything feels so far away and your 5-year goal is like, what could my 5-year goal even be or look like? How do I make that first step? What was going through your mind? And like, I don't know, just little tidbits, because I feel like there's a lot of people on here who are so close to making another new life change or starting a new business, and that part is hard.
I think you have to go all in. Even when I was, and just make that jump, like with anything, because if you're 50-50 or you're not 100% committed, then you can't have a plan B. You just need to have plan A and execute plan A until you get to the end of plan A and you're like, all right, like I tried and this didn't work, so let's go to plan B. But even when I was waitressing, I mean, I had to because at the time, but that was kind of a job that I picked that I'm like, okay, I don't have to have a lot of thinking during this, and I can dedicate all my time towards my coaching, because in my corporate job, that was taking up all of my time. And then at night, obviously I could go and waitress, but I just think you just have to figure out a plan, what that plan is going to be, and execute it fully. Because like I have a girlfriend of mine that's working 4 jobs right now, and she's trying to grow a business, but she can't because she has like, her mind is like in 4 different places. So I'm like, what's going to allow you to at least be able to pay for your bills and survive, but that takes up the least amount of space in your brain so that you can focus all of your energy on what you really, really want to do. So I would say like, you just have to go for it, because if you're scared at all, like we talked about, then you're not going to be able to really make those changes, because you're going to have those thoughts that are like, I don't think you should do it, So you have to be like 100%, like just go for it. So that's what I did. Because when I came to Florida from Vegas, because I was engaged, moved back here, I realized like I was working in another recruiting job, and it was just taking up too much of my time. So then that's when I switched to waitressing, and that was kind of my plan, that I would do that in order to be able to like pay my bills and stuff until I was able. And I worked that job for a year, which a year is a long time to most people. So it did take me a while to be able to build upon that enough where I could leave the serving job too. That was a really good feeling when I was able to leave that job.
Oh yeah.
So.
I resonate with that, man. I did the same thing. I moved here not knowing what to expect, just following like this little inkling of a dream, thinking Tampa could be the next new step in my life, and got a bartending job. I was working three nights a week, horrible hours, trying to do prep. And then one day I was like, you know what? I can afford making this, but with sacrifice. Like, guys, I don't know if you know this, but I don't even own a car. Like, there's
it's crazy.
Working through that. We have to put your passion and your dream before other things, and you have to be able and willing to make some sacrifices.
And I think another thing too is anything that you want to accomplish, I think you should literally have signs of it everywhere in your house. Like, it's kind of obnoxious, but you know what? It helps. Like, whatever it is, like just put it wherever, like when you leave the house, when you come in the house, when you, on your refrigerator, like on your mirror. Like I write stuff on my mirror sometimes with like Post-it notes, like just self-reflection constantly, like this is what I want, is going to keep that in your mind and give you that motivation to keep going when because there's been a lot of times where, my business has been up and down, and I just have to remind myself, like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. Like this, it's just waves, and there's waves in life, and that's okay. But those waves make you stronger if you just ride them. So you just got to ride out the hard times in order to get to the good times. But yeah, you just can't give up, and you just got to have faith. So.
Oh, yeah,
it's true.
That's awesome. It's so true. It really, really is. But okay, so this has been a really great conversation. I don't know if I saw someone else's question pop up.
Somebody was leaving.
Or someone was leaving. Oh, okay. Well,
I think Emily left.
Yeah.
So other than that, I did want you to touch on really quick, like, where can people find you? And please tell us about your cookie company, because they look amazing. And we have some cookie monsters on here, like legit. There are some obsessive bikini competitors that
Me and
so my Instagram is Morgan Lindsey Fit. So that's where you can find me, as far as just, I'm really not on Facebook. I need to be, but I'm really just solely on Instagram, and on YouTube, it's Morgan Lindsey Fit too. And then my cookie business, oh my God, those cookies are like, literally it's been 16 days since I've had one, because they're an issue right now. They're so good. But it's Drizzle. Yeah, they're freaking So funny enough, like, I wanted to start a cookie business. That was like something I've wanted to do for 3 years. And my girlfriend and I, my best friend and I, started it together. But it's Drizzle Cookie Co. They're bomb. Like, I don't even know what else to say except for that they're like amazing. Like, I've tried a lot of cookies, and I'm very picky. And I'm not just saying it because it's my own, but like, I honestly feel like our cookies like are better than like anything I've ever tasted. So they're like a very soft texture. I don't know. They're good. They're bomb. Especially the Easter ones that we have. We do have a sale right now going on. I think it ends tomorrow. It's 15% off if you want to try them.
Right now.
Can you tell me about the cookie, like the cookies that you're selling right now, like the Easter package?
Yeah, so the Easter packet, like the Cadbury egg one, is definitely my favorite. That one is bomb. It has.
There's banana chips on one of them.
Oh, God.
That one is bomb. So I'm obsessed with bananas in general, but it's banana chocolate chips. But it's like the actual batter is banana nut, so it's like a very banana-y cookie. But that one's bomb. And then actually, like, we did the other one that's on there is it's Whoppers and Kit Kats, so it's a very like crunchy cookie. So
oh gosh, you can't talk dirty to me like this during prep, dude.
I know. I'm like
right now, so
they're bomb. Like, they're literally so good. Yeah, well, that one's called the Easter basket because we tried to stuff it, and then it just like wouldn't fit because a Cadbury egg is like pretty freaking big, so it's a ginormous cookie. But yeah, that one is amazing, literally amazing. That's probably on the sweeter side. That's like what I like about our cookies though, is they're not like overly sweet. That one is just because it takes up the whole cookie and it's like a huge thing, but they're I don't know, they're really, really good. They're amazing. So we're planning our next cookies now.
Hell yeah. I know that in this chat the last couple of days we've been talking about supporting some local businesses, so I did want to give you a shout out on the cookies. I already made a post in our Facebook group for the link.
Aw, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I mean, thank you for hopping on here and sharing some knowledge and some happiness to everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, so what's the name of that one again? It's Drizzle Cookie Co?
Drizzle Cookie Co, yeah.
All right, so if you guys haven't already, go follow that cookie company as well as Morgan. And yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It was fun. I loved it. And it was nice meeting all of you guys.
It was nice to meet you too. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys for hopping on here and sharing this time with us. Remember that you're making some good steps in the right direction by showing up for yourself every single day like this.
Yes.
All right, guys, we'll have a wonderful Wednesday. Get in your workout, get in your walk, get in your self-reflection time, and have a really good day.
All right. Bye.
See you.
Bye.
Thank you.